this is where it all starts, right here. You got to start getting in there and collecting them. So I'm gonna go through and start collecting as many berries as I can. I got a couple other people helping, so we need a lot. So basically the fastest way to deal with berries when you get them in is to run them under cold water. Get the water really cold. A lot of times the berry's gonna be really hot from being outside, so you wanna cool them down right away. Once this floods, all of the lighter debris is gonna flood over the top of this and wash down the inside. I just pick them up as we get going. Lower this down a little bit. Rinse them off really good and set them over here inside of a strainer. This way you could be gentle on them without beating them up. Super easy. See all the crap just go right over the edge? And if not, you can wash it off. But anything light will flow right over that edge. So once you got a full bowl like this, you could either go through now and sort out whichever really nice ones, pull out defected ones if you're gonna like freeze dry them, make jelly jams. Since we're going to mash and we need so many, I like to get these rolls right here of these ice bags off Amazon. They're super strong. They don't leak. That way they don't drip a bunch of stuff inside of your freezer. The bowls fit right inside of them nicely. And you can start stockpiling bags and filling up bags to go in the freezer. And that's the way I like to do it. I leave this sitting here, I keep dumping them, I fill the bag up. Keep dumping it, fill the bag up. As you can see, we just keep filling up the freezer until we have enough. We get about 2 weeks out of the year picking berries here on the Oregon coast. So yeah, those ice bags are nice and tough. They don't let liquids spill out inside of your nice freezer. Yep, so this is the barrel I'm using for my carboy. They cost about 50 bucks. I'll put a pip on the corner of the screen right here so you guys can see how much I paid for it. Wilco. I just drilled a 1-inch hole in it. That way I can put my airlock in there. I'll put a link in the description for all this so you know what I'm using, but it's food grade, BPA safe, and all that crap. Plus you're not making alcohol strong enough to actually break this down. So these work really good when you end up with tons and tons of berries. This is what works. Like I said, we're on the Oregon coast, so we need to keep it warm. So I like to keep it in here next to the freezer. That way I know it stays warm and it ferments really nicely. And then when I'm ready to go to the still, all I got to do is siphon it out of here into the 5 gallons and take them to the still. I'll show you how that goes later. All right, I don't know how well you guys can see in here, but we're about, I don't know, I'd say almost halfway full. I want you guys to see how easy these bags come off of the berries when they're frozen. They just peel right off. All you gotta do is make a slice down them. That's another reason why I like these bags. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start adding some hot water, and we'll get this melted down to go ahead and get our yeast in there. Okay, I'll try to video this without steaming my phone up, but as you can see, I got hot water in there. I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on it, let them steam for a little bit. That way the ice doesn't affect my water temperature very much as I start to bring it up. I don't want it to get chilled down my water and then not be able to add more. So I'm gonna go ahead and just let that sit until they defrost for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and top her off at 95 degrees. You're gonna use your 3-foot mixing paddle. Make sure if you buy one, it's got rounded over edges. You don't wanna damage the inside of your barrel. I'll put a link in the description for this one below. It's called an edging mixer. And then you can do it with a regular cordless drill. If you don't add the water and it's too thick, then you're gonna need a corded drill because you'll burn up your little one. But this is more than enough to beat up the berries and break them apart. They don't have a very tough skin. This isn't like grains or apples or something where you have to really smash the heck out of it. This mixer will do more than enough to break those berries up. Okay, got them all the balls broke up. They're down in there. We're about a quarter full. That's with me adding about, I don't know, over 5 gallons of water, hot water, boiling hot water. We're gonna let this sit, fully defrost, get to room temp, and then we're gonna start adding 95-degree water to get it up to the level. We're gonna be at about 3/4 full when we're done. and then we'll add the yeast. So I'll show you guys what all that looks like here when it comes time. You can tell it got to room temp because it's no longer sweating. Now I'm going to use my big old drill here, and I'm going to start to beat these berries up. And then you want to make sure that you beat them up really good. I'm going to do this off camera because it's going to be really loud, but you're going to want to make sure you beat these things up really good. And then don't leave your anodized, galvanized, zinc-coated mixer in the barrel ever. Mix it, pull the thing out. Unless it's aluminum or stainless steel, you don't want to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and mix these up, get them beat up, then we'll add the hot water and the yeast. All right, there's all the foam. I just got done beating the berries really good with that edge mixer, and it really beats them up really nice. You can see how it breaks them all up along the walls and everything. I'm going to go ahead and start adding water. I need to get to my halfway mark, which is right here. So I need to get it up to 95 degrees before we can add the yeast. So I'm going to boil some water, start adding water, checking temps, and trying to get this right on 95 degrees. So I almost forgot to mention that we're adding a pound of sugar per gallon. There's 25 gallons in here, so I'm going to be adding 25 pounds of sugar out of these 4-pound bags. I'm going to be putting this sugar with my hot water as I'm warming it up on the stove to break down the sugars, get them solidified before I add it to the barrel. So if this was grains or something like that, we'd go 2 pounds per gallon. That way the yeast has a maximum amount of sugar to be able to roll. With this though, the berries, they got a lot more fructose and natural sugars. We're only going 1 pound per gallon. Using Old Faithful, my trusted probe temperature meter. I'm at 66 degrees. I'll put a link in the description for one of these as well. These are a must-have if you're making alcohol. But 65, so I got to come up quite a bit. All right, as you can see, we're pretty much to our mark in there, and we're at 93.3 degrees, close enough for this guy. Now we're going to add 6 packs of this Lavlin brewer's yeast. It's supposedly made for berries and works very well, so I'll put a link in the description for this below. This is the first time I've used this one in particular, but it calls for 1 packet for every 1 to 6 gallons, but we're going to add 6 to the 25 gallons just to make sure we have enough for all that sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and get these added in, mixed up, and then we're basically just letting this bad boy sit. Since we activated our yeast, you guys should be getting bubbles right away out of your airlock. So you want to really check on that. Within the first day, you should be getting air bubbles basically. And if you're not, then something's wrong with the seal. You should go through, check your seal really good. For me, I wasn't getting bubbles right away, so I knew something was wrong, and I went ahead and added some weight to the center of this lid so it created uniform pressure. Like the stack of plates right here is enough weight to give it pressure to lock it in place. And now I'm getting bubbles right away. So day 1, you should be seeing bubbles. It should be kicking it pretty steady stream of them. There's a lot of yeast in this barrel. It's really warm. I mean, it's the perfect condition for it to be taking off and activating. So there you go. All right, so it's been 26 days and it's done bubbling. It's still got some pressure on it, but it hasn't really been kicking bubbles for the past couple days. I let it go a few extra days just to make sure. That's the beauty of these airlocks, is that you know nothing's going to go bad inside of the 50-gallon drum because it's under, you know, it's an anaerobic condition, so it's not letting air get inside of it. It's not aerobic. But it's done. I'm going to show you guys how we get this liquid out and leave most of the pulp inside of the drum, and then we'll go from there. This might be hard for you guys to see on camera, but there's a solid crust on top, which is really nice. I'm going to go ahead and use my stabber and break that crust up. And then we're going to go ahead and siphon it out. We're going to use this hose, clear plastic hose right here. You could go with any size hose. I've always used this one. I just washed it out real good with water, and we're going to let gravity siphon it out. It's how my grandpa used to do it, and that's how I'm going to do it. But this is real moonshine from real blackberries. This ain't no grain moonshine and then adding some, infusing it with some blackberries. That ain't real blackberry moonshine in my book. I don't care what your mama told you. This is how you make moonshine right here with blackberries. You do it all out of the blackberries, kind of like Italians would call it grappa with the grapes. But this is where it's at. I don't know if you guys could see that side of this 5-gallon jug, but it's draining out. and it's draining it down into there, and it's got no pulp in it. And that's just siphoning it from up here. Just like that. Real simple and easy. Been done like this for generations. I'll let that go, fill that one up, then I'll fill the next one up until we get it drained all the way down. So in the future, I'm going to go with a bigger hose for siphoning. This one keeps clogging up and going slow. That one took almost an hour, so note to self, go with at least a 1/2 inch hose. This was hose I had from last year, and it didn't really bother me too much back then when I was doing half the size, but now that I'm doing these bigger batches, this is just taking a long time, so 1/2 inch hose. All right, got my 2 full. Now I'm gonna go ahead and head out to the still. It's only a 10-gallon pot, so can't go more than that anyway, but it's probably gonna take at least 4 more. I went ahead and put my lid back on top, got my airlock back in there, made sure everything was sealed up real nice, snug. That way no bugs get in it, everything stays clean, and we'll come back to this and deal with this as soon as we get done burning these 2 off. So off to the still we go. All right, just got my water all dialed in. Me and Dee's been sitting here cracking at it. We built us a little table so that it'd be perfectly level. We also got this brand new burner, way better burner. It's the Concord Professional. It's called Stronghold. Yeah, that thing's badass. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add my 10 gallons. I just pulled the cap off one, got me a ladder set up. We'll get it filled up and get this ran. We're at a little above 80 degrees. Gonna start watching for leaks. Hopefully that flame's at the right angle there. We'll figure it out here. It's the first time using this one. It's got this adjustable air flume over here as well as the gauge on the tank. So I'm not used to playing with this style, but it seems like it's doing pretty good. If it's too hot, I'll lower it back down, but for now, we're just gonna let it run. All right, we have her turned up a little bit. We had her running a little bit lower. This new burner, we're trying to figure it out, but we turned it up a little bit. It's been exactly 1 hour. We're hot all the way down to over here. So the thumper's starting to get hot now. As soon as this tube here gets hot towards the condensing coil, we'll know that it's gonna pop, but still not quite hot enough. We should have probably been running a little bit hotter. It's saying our temps are just now getting to 200. So 1 hour, 200 degrees, 1 hour. All right, our cherries popped, and it has been exactly 1 hour and 24 minutes. So that's how long it took this time. We could have went probably a little hotter in the beginning just to get it to pop, but now I'm gonna go ahead and remove some of the heads before I start collecting the rest of it. But can't wait to try out this Blackberry Moonshine. Real Blackberry Moonshine, made with blackberries, not infused moonshine where you make moonshine with grain and barley and your corn or whatever else you're making it with, and then you add some blackberries to your thumper keg. We actually added Blackberry Moonshine to our thumper keg, which was the 30% from the last run. That way we keep reusing the 30% to fill up the thumper keg, because you need a little bit of liquid in it. But other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and remove some of these heads, and then we'll get to collecting. So I don't know if you guys caught it in the last video, but a simple way to do this is we just use the 2-cup method. You just swap 1 cup out for the other one. Take the 1 cup you got, pour it into the jar, separate them. Every 1/2 gallon, you're gonna wanna start separating 1/2 gallons out, figuring out what your actual alcohol content is using the hydrometer. Then we can temper it and add the sweet juice and all that stuff later on. So that's our goal for now, is 1/2 gallon 1, 1/2 gallon 2. By the third 1/2 gallon, it's gonna be all watering out, then we can temper them out. Pulled the first 1/2 gallon out. It's literally at 70% and it's already fallen off. So this other 1/2 gallon, we only get about a gallon out of the 10-gallon run usually. Maybe a little bit more at around 90, then it starts dropping off. But normally this first jar should have been at like 100 plus. So I'm not sure what's going on there. It could have been the mash, maybe that yeast I used or something, but I'm gonna go back, maybe add some sugar on it, let it sit a couple more days, see if that helps increase the alcohol content. But other than that, I'm separating off the rest of it over here, and then we'll get it all ran before we start mixing them up and tempering everything out. But the hydrometer doesn't lie, so I'm gonna just keep collecting and then show you guys what we get at the end here. All right, next run started. Got the flames up quite a bit higher than we did the last time. Keeping an eye on the temperatures. Checking water, everything's nice, looking perfect. Just got about 3 more runs to do and we'll be done with this blackberry. Can't wait to be finished and tempering. All right, getting through these runs. This is like run 3. Probably 1 more run after this on this blackberry. Can't wait to be done. Can't wait to get to tempering it and taste testing. It's gonna be so good. This is our technique right here for removing the old shit and getting it out to the field. Nothing like an Ace Hardware wheelbarrow. Some hot ass shit. All right, so now that we're all done, out of all of that, we got all of this has been tempered to 80, where it's nice, drinkable, tastes really good. We have a full one of pretty much 30%. I mean, it's still strong, would fuck you up really bad, but we're gonna save this for a thumper. And at the very end, we got some shit that came out a little dirtier. It's testing at 40% using the hydrometer, which I'll put a link in the description for below. So that's basically what we got right there, was about 2 gallons, and then about a half gallon, a little over a half gallon of stuff that we're gonna rerun from our previous batch with our new batch to fill up our thumper. So there it is. That's the entire run. So drop that like button, smash the subscribe and all that jazz or whatever, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.